We're going to start with a Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, I would like to welcome everyone. O'Brien's on the ball. Audience introduction.
Marianne Hutchinson, Rumford Falls Times.
Heidi Connolly, Director of Special Services.
Sarah Thurston. I am a teacher at the middle school, and I have a student at the elementary school and another at the high school.
Jay Nicholson, bus driver.
Kenny Robbins, Director of Buildings, Grounds, and Transportation.
Welcome, everyone. Tina, you can hear everything, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. All right. So adjustments to the agenda. We do have some. Could I have a motion, please? And a second? There ain't really any comments. Okay, roll call.
Dawn,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Tina,
Yes, sorry about the delay.
That's okay.
Barbara,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Carl.
Yes.
All righty. Consideration of the minutes of the February 13th, 2024 board meeting. Could I have a motion, please?
I make a motion, we accept them.
And second? I love your glasses. Put them on. Comments, questions, revisions? Seeing none, roll call?
Dawn,
Not voting.
Larry, Kathleen,
Yes.
Tim,
Not voting.
Tina,
Not voting.
Barbara,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Carl.
Yes.
Okay. Public comment. This is the time the public can make a comment. We may not have the answer for you at this time. Is there any hands up online? Anybody would like to make a comment here? Nope. All right, moving on. Communications.
I have no new communications.
New business. Heidi, you're up first.
Good evening. Am I gonna break? Okay. Like, am I gonna break it? I don't want to start out like that. Okay. So I'll start with the overview for special education services. For the Special Services Department, the mission to prepare each child from birth through 22 to contribute to their communities in meaningful and positive ways by providing specialized instruction, allowing for individual differences and learning styles, and developing independence. So that's our mission for the department. What you'll see in the Special Services budget reflects materials and staff to support all the students for their identified IEP needs and the meeting process. This includes funds for academic intervention programs, curriculum, extended school year services, occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, psychological services, social work services, supplies, professional development, and we do train our staff in behavioral interventions and restraint procedures if those are needed for safety purposes. Also includes obviously the salary and benefits of the staff that are under the Special Services Department. There are some uncontrollables in the budget, which does include salaries and benefits, the increased cost of out-of-district placements, high need students that can potentially move into our district, and any other services that are determined by an IEP team, which we are legally bound to provide. So for enrollment in the 22-23 school year, we had 131 students towards the end of the school year. Our current enrollment at this time is 126. With that being said, we've had 24 referrals so far this year into the Special Services Department, which is up from last year. Last year, we had a total of 19 referrals for the entire year. So we're at 24 now. Typically, we do get quite a few in the spring. So out of those 24 referrals, we've got 10 that have qualified, 5 that do not qualify, and 9 are in progress at this time. We have had 4 students. It's always a celebration when students graduate from special education services and are in the regular education setting. We've had 4 so far this year that have graduated from services. So they've met their goals and are successfully in the regular education setting for their day. Staffing, we currently have 8 special education teachers spread across our 3 buildings. We have 25 ed techs in the district at this time, providing daily services to students. In addition to that, we do have related service providers that are contracted or employed by the district to meet the required IEP needs. I was able to reduce our contracted time with physical therapists based on student needs and IEPs by a half a day for the upcoming budget. The other staffing levels are remaining the same due to the regulatory requirements and identified IEP needs. For out-of-district placements for the 24-25 school year budget, there is a decrease in out-of-district placements to Margaret Murphy. We have successfully transitioned a student back effective on Monday to Dirigo Elementary School from Margaret Murphy. So that's really exciting for him. He gets to spend time with his non-disabled peers, and it is a savings for the district. We also have a student in the process. I've talked about it a couple of times when I've been in front of you, and it is still in process. Another student transitioning back from Margaret Murphy to Dirigo High School, and that process is going along really well. We meet on a regular basis, and I have full confidence that he will be here to start the 24-25 school year. There is a projected increase in the daily rate for Margaret Murphy of 3% for next year, and an increase for WFRP, which is another Western Regional Foothills program, which is the second program that we're utilizing at this time for out-of-district placement. Their projected increase is 2.86%. Any questions for me about any of that information?
Go ahead, Larry.
I'm just reading this very quickly.
Yeah.
You said that you need a bus aid for Margaret Murphy.
Yes, so
How does that affect the student coming back from Margaret Murphy? Is that the same? I'm saying that you need a bus aid, but
I was going to
you
talk
have a
about.
student coming back.
Yes. So I still have, even with the student coming back, there are still going to be 4 high need students on that bus. And we do have a bus aid that has been hired, but he was our only sub bus aid. So now our situation is we have no sub. So if that bus aid were to be sick, we would be in a position that we could not transport those students to their programming.
Okay, so the two don't go together.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. And I can talk about those proposals
Okay.
too. I was just giving a minute to see if there were
Okay.
questions about the first part.
The first part, I know that you work, is it CDS or I forgot the one that they're trying.
CDS.
CDS.
Yes.
And I do know we see, is it 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds? If they've already been identified that you work to when they're transitioning them into our district?
So we do our transition meetings in the spring for students that are coming into
To
kindergarten.
kindergarten,
At
so
this
we don't do
point.
any 3-year-olds.
Not yet. It's
Okay.
coming.
Yeah, I know, and so I don't know. So you just see the 4-year-olds, or do you go? Go and observe the 4-year-olds so you can transition, or how does that work?
No, typically what happens is there's now a database that I can go into and see that's new this year. So I can look at IEPs and then see kind of what the needs are of the students prior to them coming in and prior to those transition meetings. If there were a really high need student that was in and out of district placement, there would be more conversation and I would be going to visit and things like that. We don't have that at this point.
Okay, if the IEP has PT or OT, do we start right away with that? Or do we observe and wait to do?
No, so that IEP is binding. So a student can come into our district with the CDS IEP in kindergarten, and we have to follow that IEP. So if there are OT services or PT, we pick those right up in the fall when we start with them in
Okay.
kindergarten.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, any other questions? Just go ahead.
I was just curious on the referral process. How and who refers the students to you?
Yeah. So we
Just curious.
Yeah, so we do have a process in place. So we do accept parent referrals. So a parent can just decide, and we do get some of those. I would like to refer my child. I believe there's a disability getting in the way of their progress. And then the other process that we have in place would be teachers bringing a student to a team, a building-based team, and they review the data and look at progress, look at the interventions provided. So one thing that's really important that I try to vet when I get a referral is, how long have we been providing interventions? What's the progress look like? How far behind is the student? Does it make sense at this time to move forward with a referral meeting? So we do sort of have a couple sort of gatekeeping pieces. Sometimes it stops with that building-based team because they make recommendations about particular interventions that they think the team should try, whether it's a building-based intervention or a classroom intervention, and then they track that data. And I've really requested that we are supposed to be very mindful of least restrictive environment and be careful about labeling students with a disability if that's not in fact what's happening. There's a lot of other factors that can impact a child in the school setting. So I do ask that we try interventions for a minimum of 60 days and kind of track that data and use that to inform the referral process.
Okay. Any other questions for Heidi? Okay, keep.
Okay. So I'll start with my new proposal. It's one of two. I've been really lucky that I haven't had to ask for a lot in several years. So here I am. I'm asking. And so this first ask is for a position that has been covered under the ESSER funding. And as we know, that's expiring. It is an EdTech 3 at Dirigo Elementary School, along with utilizing them during the day, but then also having their schedule set in a way that if we're in a bind and we need a bus aid, I know I've got that person that can be called to do that. And we're not scrambling to try to pull someone at, 6:30 in the morning to cover this 7:30 run. So just some history on this position. It's a difficult position to fill. I'm not talking about the sub part, more just the actual bus aid part was very difficult to fill. We had someone that was retired that did it for 5 years, and that person has left. We had one sub, and that person is now our bus aid. He was interested in the position. We hired him. So I have had the sub bus aid position before we filled it. It was posted for a long time, and we didn't have anyone want to do that role, and in part because it's a split position. So it's, 7 to 10 in the morning, and then you come back at 1:30 and you don't get back till 4. So it takes kind of a unique person to be able to do that. And my thinking here was, and what has worked really well, is having this sub bus aide that it is there at Dirigo Elementary School. We haven't had to utilize her a lot for the bus aid piece, but she's certainly there working every day as an Ed Tech 3. But when we have needed her, because the bus aide is sick, has a doctor's appointment, etc., it's been a relief to know, yes, the run can still happen.
Questions? Go ahead.
So that's a benefited insurance position also, isn't it? Is that the? Yes, 30 hours a week. Yeah.
Yes, it's a full-time position, so they would have benefits with insurance.
Yes. Oh, that number. Yes, sorry. Yes.
So clarity, so this is are they an Ed Tech 3 and fill in for bus aid? Or they are the bus aid doing a little bit of Ed Tech 3?
They are an Ed Tech 3 that fills in if the bus aid, if the full, well, it's a part-time role.
Okay,
If the
because
bus aid is
We
sick.
do have a
out.
bus aid.
Yes,
Okay.
thankfully, yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions about that position? You have the second one?
Yep. Yep. So the second one I'm asking for is an Ed Tech 3 position at Dirigo High School. I'm specifically asking for this position based on the fact that we do have a very high need student that will be transitioning back here for the beginning of next school year full time. Right now, that student during the transition process has Margaret Murphy staff that are coming here to our building and supporting. We are starting to try to fade that out. But what we do know is this student is coming from a highly staffed and supported placement, and it is going to be important to make sure we've got the level of staffing we need to support the student so that we're not in a position to have to relook at an out-of-district placement again.
I have a question. I have
Sure.
a question. You had this as two, I'm assuming you're two, but isn't this something we're going to need?
Yes.
This is be the student will need an Ed Tech 3 with them
Yes.
to be successful and
Yes.
so it's not really a priority. It has to be because technically you wrote that we paid 82,000 for him the student, him or her, at Margaret Murphy, and now we need an aide, an Ed
Yes.
Tech to have
So
it
that
there.
placement cost will be coming out of the special services budget, but what I'm asking for is that the Ed Tech 3 position be there. There is obviously a difference, and it's to the positive for the district in terms of
Yes,
savings.
as far as
Yes.
financially, but
Yes.
what I'm saying is we have to have that by law. There is no not having an Ed Tech with that student.
Yes. So at this point, the student doesn't have a one-to-one all day written on the IEP. If that's what you're asking.
It doesn't.
But what I would say is obviously the specialized nature of Margaret Murphy's programming is way beyond what a public school has. So it's going to be really important to have him highly supported when he's here. Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
So I just want to clarify. So because this is a different position, it's on the new position list. It's actually a savings for the school districts because this 50,000 plus 54,000 replaces the 82,000 that we were paying for Margaret Murphy. So it's actually a reduction in our proposed budget, but we try to be super clear that when we're hiring somebody new, what that position is. So this could be a situation that the board might say, this doesn't need to be on the priority list because it's actually replacing something. But we just want to be as clear and transparent with everything that we're doing to make sure that the board and our community understands our process. So if you are inclined to tell Ms. Connolly that this doesn't need to be on the priority list, this is just a reduction in a change of the money flow, that would be perfectly fine with us.
Larry?
To address what you just said, when it comes to money, I I don't have a clue. We're gonna have a $54,000 savings, correct?
No, so it's going to cost 54,000, but it used to cost us 82. So it would be the 82 minus the 54, so
I think Carl did the
27,000.
math for us.
Okay, I'm with you now. I'm with you now.
So it is a savings, but I just want to be clear, like, this is a position, so it's goes on our new position priority list unless you tell us differently. Maybe it's not an add-on, maybe it's just a swap out and it doesn't stay on the
Because
add-on.
even though it doesn't say it directly one-on-one, I know that's hard to put in an IEP. For the student to be successful,
It
to
would
go
be-
for Margaret Murphy, they're gonna need a lot of support.
Yes,
It's not gonna be,
Correct.
we don't want to go backwards.
correct. We've worked really hard. This transition's been going on. I mean, we really started it last year. So we've really done it slow and cautiously, and it's exciting to see how excited the student is to be here at our high school. But yeah, it is something I feel that is absolutely needed.
So do you want to do that under general consensus and not have us put this on a new list? I saw a lot of nodding, but I don't want to take
Yeah,
anything for granted.
Do we want thumbs up? Go ahead, Carl.
Just make a comment. Well, if another student came and this student had moved on or was 23, then would this person be available for the next one? So I
There's
guess,
always
I don't know, if we
next
made a new
one.
position, it might be official. I don't-
No, but I mean, I just want to make sure they know it, but it really, to me, it's a yes, there you go. It's not something, oh, well, we can cut it. No, you would not. You would put somebody there and then cut
Yeah,
something else.
yeah.
So, thumbs up, just a consensus on not being priority, but just aware that it's a change of where, the staff. Okay. I think we got. Tina, any questions? That's right. Do you have a thumb or what do you think?
Yes, I have a thumb. I mean, it makes good financial sense and it's a need, so.
Okay, thank you, Tina. I think I remembered her. Any other questions? Are you all done?
That was it. Yep, unless there are any other questions for me. Oh, now I figured out how to talk into the microphone at the end. Sorry.
Thank you, Heidi.
All right, thank you.
Hey. Penny's up.
Evening, everybody. So the mission of the Buildings, Transportation and Grounds Department is the mission of the RSU56 Buildings, Grounds and Transportation Department is to maintain safe, clean buildings, athletic fields, and to provide safe, reliable transportation for students. We do run 12 daily buses in the district. We have 4 daily van runs to deliver students to Western Foothills Regional Program in Rumford. We do use the vans quite a bit for a modified day, if a student has a modified day or things like that. We do run, as Heidi pointed out, one bus that we do take to Margaret Murphy in Auburn. We have 2 mechanics that maintain a fleet of 21 buses, 5 vans, 1 food van, 2 plow trucks, 3 tractors that we use for mowing and snow removal. And the district maintains 23 acres of athletic fields. In the transportation side of it, our insurance has increased 15% to projecting for another year. I haven't locked in on diesel fuel this year. I've been watching it. That's kind of maintaining, it kind of goes up a few cents and then down a few, but they keep telling me to hang in there just a little bit because it is going to go down some more. So I've been kind of holding off on that a little bit. On the building side of it, the maintenance budget, our insurance increased 15% for property and liability insurance. The electricity, has gone up. We were at 6 cents. Now we're at 10 cents a kilowatt. And with the air conditioning units that we've been installing at the elementary school and then that we're going to be doing the high school here, the electricity cost has gone up a little bit there. And again, I haven't locked in on heat and oil. Again, it's about 20 cents cheaper than we were last year, but they keep telling me again that it's going to be going down a little bit. I did put in for, the only site improvement that I put in for was here in the high school. We've got a couple rooms that the carpet is the original carpet. And it's kind of used up and it is a trip hazard, so we need to replace that, or I'd like to replace it this summer and put in some tile. The other increase in my budget was I put in for 12,000 for the PFAS filters that we have over at the elementary school. We're not quite sure how long they're going to last. And so rather than have to replace them and not have the money, I put it in, and then next year we'll know for sure just how long they will be capable of. But so that's all I have. Wait just a minute here. So yeah, my add-ons on transportation. I'm sorry, I skipped over a piece. When ESSA was here, when the COVID was here, we actually took one of our drivers and slid him over into the bus that we run to Margaret Murphy. So we've had an opening in our bus driver and custodian that we haven't filled because we've been funding it through ESSA. But I do feel as though we do need to replace this person or that position. It's not a new position, but we just haven't had a person filling it. And the other thing that I put in for in a Boston is, and I had talked a little bit about it last year about the new GPS system that we have out to replace the radios. We did apply for a grant, but we didn't get it. They won't fund anything that's cell phone usable. So I felt as though we will have to use cell phones, but it will be our own system. So that was 25,000.
Any questions? Go ahead, Liz.
Has your new mechanic started yet?
Yes, she started February vacation, working out really well.
Go ahead, Lear.
If I remember right, we have an electric bus now?
No.
We don't. Okay. And, okay, they had some recalls on them. I was just
Yeah.
wondering about that.
Yeah, bad ones.
Kenny, you said you're going to be using cell phones for the GPS. How does it work when you're in places that there is no service?
Well, hopefully, it's off a satellite.
Okay.
So it
that's
does
the
cover.
answer.
So what the system will do, we can, right now, like if we use our radios, everybody hears it.
Yeah.
So if we go to this new system, RSU10 has had it, SAD9 has it. You can talk to all the bus drivers, or you can talk to them individually, and they can talk to us individually. So if we have a problem on a bus with a student or something, we can communicate back and forth. One of the good things that I like about it is, I can be home at night with a trip out and, say a bad storm or something, I can track that bus, how far they're coming and how they're making out. So, and hopefully it'll take care of a lot of dead spots that we have now. So.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you. Oh, I forgot my question. That's all right. I can't remember. Oh, I got the hiccup. Sorry. Oh, I know. Was it last year or the year before? We budgeted for them high school doors and we didn't have the money because we had to fix the bricks because that was a trip hazard.
Yeah.
Obviously you didn't budget for it. So is that going to be, because they're pretty bad.
They're getting bad, yes.
They're bad.
We have a lot of doors that are getting, we we patched them as best we can and had companies come in, but, middle school is the same way. That main door up there is, it's had a lot of use.
Okay.
So,
Well,
I mean,
maybe-
I can get a price if you'd like, and
Well, is that considered part of ventilation? If we know. Why? The door's gonna be closed.
Do you know how many times they say that to people that try to get little?
Well, just the door is part of ventilation.
It's not.
No, because I know like the kitchen door is bad too.
Yeah.
The window, that's bad. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Kenny. All right, that was the two. All right. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. All right, second reading of policy BEDBR board agenda format. There are no changes since the first reading. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second,
Second.
comments or questions? Roll call?
Dawn,
Yes.
Larry, Kathleen,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Tina,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Carl.
Yes.
Oh, now I need to remember to do that for our next agenda.
What?
Change the format.
Oh, I know. I was thinking that too. Old business.
So I did hear from Bruce. They have not met at Region 9 since his last report out. So unless Brian has something to add. And the strategic planning update, our next meeting is March 18th at 5:30 at the Darragh High School Library.
Only 4 of us came yesterday. I know.
And
Keep going.
And superintendent's report. Last week was vacation week. Staff and students seem to really enjoy the time off. We do have an upcoming teacher workshop day on March 15th. The time will be used to do professional development work in each of our 3 buildings. And as Mr. Keen makes his way to do his report, I will also say that Alan Tashney resigned as the middle school cross-country coach, and Jennifer Robbins Barlow, who's a special ed tech at the elementary school, is resigning as of June 30th, 2024. I did forward her resignation to the board because her hope is to retire and then rehire.
Because if you want to get your benefits, you have to retire. And then you can be rehired after a little bit. Okay, Brian.
All right. So since I haven't actually been up in front of you guys since back in, I think it was September, I'll start off with our October 1 enrollment update. So on the top of your page, you will see, and it might be a little hard, I can email it out so you guys can zoom in on it. But that is the information that we get when we submit our October 1st EPS report to the state. Shows our student counts attending per building, subsidy counts, and the other information that goes into formulating for our ED 279. You'll see part of what helped our funding increase for this coming year. Our economic status went up by 24 kids. So that helped us quite a bit for this year's funding. And you'll see the breakdown on the bottom part for each category. Like I say, I can email it out so it's a little easier to see. Talking about our grant updates for the tech department. We had worked with RSU10 on the RUS grant for 2023. And we've notified back in September, I think, that we received the RUS grant. We have 20 of the interactive Promethean panels coming our way for a total dollar figure of roughly 151,000. So they hopefully, we're working on choosing the rooms right now. And then those will be put in hopefully over April break, assuming that the contractors and the bid process goes okay with RSU10. And RSU10 was the fiscal agent on that. So they did all the heavy lifting. We just kind of rode on their coattails and collaborated on the grant writing and stuff with them. And to go along with that, we are actually in the process of working with Mount Blue and Winthrop to apply for the 24-25 RUS grant. We also received a cybersecurity performance grant from MLTI back in the fall, and that grant was $54,828. That money goes towards securing our endpoint devices for grades 4 through 12. Projects that we've been working on, as you guys have heard the last few months, working on the vape sensors. Last week we finished installing all of them here at Dirigo High School, and we verified today that they are working very well. So we know that those are up and running. The middle school project has been started, hopeful completion date of around the March workshop day. Our district newsletter is back in action. You'll see the first edition come out on Friday morning. So keep an eye on your emails for that. It'll also get posted on our Facebook page and website, but it'll come direct through email. We're also working on putting in kiosk iPads in each building. We're testing it at the middle school, hopefully starting this week. Basically, we're looking to get rid of the paper and pencil sign-out sheets at our buildings. Either when we have visitors come in or have parents come in to pick up a student. Right now, they come into the office and grab the clipboard, write it down. We have some of our older iPads that we upgraded last year. So we purchased a few stands for the older iPads. And that way, when the parent comes in or the vendor comes in, they can sign in on the iPad. And that information will go into a spreadsheet that we can access anytime if we need to go look at stuff versus having to contact the building, look through papers to try to find the paper visitor log. We have a digital copy of it instead. On the back side, the other things that we've been doing, banners. We purchased our banner printer through COVID funding. That has been used a lot over the last few years. This year, primarily for our senior sports banners, and then also our basketball tournament banners that we printed for our boys last week. Along with a few other event banners that we've done throughout the year. Cybersecurity, both of these are both pretty hot topics. Cybersecurity has been hot a lot in the last few years. We've done a lot in-house to increase our cybersecurity through different endpoint security programs that we've put on our devices, firewalls, and a few other things. We're also right now, I'm getting ready for, I have a vendor coming in to do a security audit on the district to see where, do some testing to see where we're at, if we're meeting the benchmarks that we should, if there's things that we need to improve on. And then they will also, at the end of the audit, they will come in and have an executive session with the board to discuss where we're at and what their recommendations are. They do it in executive session due to not letting any proprietary information out of the district or anything like that. And not to put us at risk for saying the things out loud that we are doing to try to increase our security. So that'll be coming further on. I'm still meeting with them to figure out timelines and things like that. So that it's a long-term project, but something that we've put a lot of time into.
Like the email we get from the Dixfield Sewer office and the bill thing, and I go, no, this is not. I go, what is this? Junk? I don't know how.
The other big thing that people are talking about right now is artificial intelligence in education. There's a lot of conversations around, is it good? Is it bad? Should it stay? Should it go? I spent a Saturday back in January in South Portland at the high school at a conference about AI. We had a couple of speakers come in from across the country. Amanda Fox and Carl Hooker came in from Texas, who's someone that does a lot of things in education. He spoke to our directors group quite a few times in the last couple of years. And they walked us through the goods, the bads, what we can do with AI. And I think one of the big things that came out of the conference is you really shouldn't shut everything down and turn AI off. There's so many good things that it can do that definitely outweigh the negative pieces that may come with it. There are always the possibilities of somebody using it to cheat on a paper, but there's other ways to cheat on a paper, not just using artificial intelligence. So I think there are a lot of benefits to it, and it's definitely something that's not going away. So it's something we'll have to just change how we work with things and increase our knowledge in it, as well as the teachers. That way we can support what's coming in the future.
A prompter, and what was the other thing? A good prompter. We went for in October.
Yep.
What was it? A good prompter, and there was another thing. Editing and prompting.
And do not trust the things out there that say they can detect AI, because really they can't 100% detect it. So it's one of those. And there have been one of the things that Amanda talked about in her keynote was the detection programs are great sometimes, but they also have false positives. So it's you may have one that comes back that says, the program is 95 or 99% sure that it was created by artificial intelligence, but it really was created by a kid who used valid sources out there on the internet to source their information. So it's one of those things that we'll just have to figure out how to work with it and make it work in education, because it's something that definitely is here to stay.
Any questions for Brian? If I did, I forgot.
Thank you.
Thank you. All righty, we are moving along. Student rep must have been busy.
It just made me wonder, did I put her on the email when I send out the agenda? But she's definitely willing to still be
Okay.
on, so I will check with her.
All right, policy committee, we met today. We'll have some results next time. Finance committee,
Yes, Mary brought in the notes from the last meeting on February 2nd. I did not attend. I blew it. But anyway, I looked at it. She showed them to me. And as far as money spent so far in this fiscal year, we are over the halfway point. I think we're at 51% or something. And we're on money, but we are only 5 months left to go instead of 6. So everything looks good there. And I guess insurance will not, Anthem will not give us our quote to see if our rates go up, down, or stay the same till the day after we vote on the budget. So I guess that kind of screws us up a little bit. So otherwise, things are looking good.
Brad's not here for curriculum.
I will just say the next meeting, I believe, is March 12th at 5 o'clock in the conference room at the high school.
Building and grounds,
We're scheduled to meet, I think it's the 23rd of March. I don't
okay.
have it in front of me, so I'm guessing.
Negotiations, we are starting with our last group next
March 13th at
March
5:30.
13th. Thank you. I would have said next week. Okay, March 21st. There we go. Personnel, Natalie's not here. I know we have it scheduled.
So we have our next meeting, March 6th at 2:30 at Derigo High School in the conference room.
That's next
That is next week.
2:30. Ad hoc, Larry, do we have a date? I do not either. Okay, board member comments. I have a couple. One thing, and I don't know, because when Kenny said that the insurance was coming up, when we changed our insurance to MSMA, because it was a deal, Mary, well, I'll just say, can you do, and I don't know, to the finance committee or something, has it been viable for us? Is it working? Remember, I forgot when we changed. How many years ago did we change? When we changed to the 2 years, I think it's been
This is our second year with them,
okay.
and we're working out some kinks.
Okay, all right. Because I was curious, because some things have come up. And my only other comment was when I saw that, and this is to our principal and to the MPA changed where you have to use credit to get in to a game. Well, that means every kid's gonna have a card. And to order ahead, I don't know if Augusta's that, but Portland, it's $15 because you got to pay the ticket fees. How much? If you pay ahead? I knew they said something they could get it from the school because the wrestling, they had to order their tickets from here or something, the state or something. I don't know what. But is the purpose so it's efficient for the venue or do you know why they did that?
I do not have that answer. I can
I
try to
think
find it.
so.
Carl thinks he has it.
Okay, Carl.
Must have been sitting in a truck or a tractor or something that day because I was listening to the sports channel and they addressed this. And there's two different, the Augusta Civic Center is actually the cheapest. Your Cross Insurance and both Cross and the Portland, they're like through Ticketmaster. So they bid on everything. So they have the right to that. So they set the rules on the price, how it's paid as far as, yeah.
I know mostly everybody, but not everybody can afford that to go to, that you give $5 to give a credit and to charge I just think that's awful. $15 and whatever you said for that is, I'm just like, so they've taken over. I was very discouraged with that because, here we are as a school and we make sure we charge minimal for kids. I mean, we went up to $2 and Nick goes, is that okay? Because we always were $1 because we want the kids. So basically, I just thought I know they control it, but that's not right because we're public. So that was my other, and the other comment, and that we haven't heard, because I thought of what's going on with the government now about the CDS, and they're trying to push again. And we had done a collaboration with Head Start, and we haven't heard peep.
We have not heard anything from Head Start since pre-COVID.
Okay, because that will be a major impact on our special ed department. We don't have, there's shortage of PT, OT money. That means we have to fit the 3-year-olds. And it's like, well, where's that coming from? So that was my comment. Larry?
Yes, I have an email from Jason from February 2nd. He said that he's proposing the Ad Hoc Civil Rights Committee be held on Thursday, March 21st, 5 to 6:30, Dirigo Middle School, room 2. March 21st. But I don't know if he's proposing, I don't know if that's in place yet, but that's what he proposed.
Any other?
I also have a comment.
Go ahead, Tina.
I also found those tickets extremely expensive. We left people home because they cost too much, and it was a service fee with every ticket. So is there some way we can address that with whoever sets this? Because people can't afford to go, not at $15 a person.
And I didn't know, because they said something about we could buy them through the school. So I didn't know what that meant either. I don't know if that's like states we used to be able to buy and ahead through the school.
I will get information on this, but I do not have it at this time.
Well, it's a new thing. Oh, and my other comment is I saw it today. Logan was picked for senior at McDonald. That is such an honor. Logan, my brain's dead. Timberlake, wonderful senior, good kid. He's the kid that I will say, Barbara, can I help you? Do you need help? Do you need to carry this? So it's just an honor. He's a good boy. All right. Seeing no more comments, I've no executive session. Could I get a motion to adjourn? And a second? Roll call.
Dawn, Larry, Kathleen.
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
Tina.
Yes.
Barbara.
Yes.
Liz.
Yes.
Carl.
Yes.